What's up guys, Bravado here, and in this video, I'm going to be going over whether or not the vehicles are still really viable or they're like worth using despite the massive nerfs they have received recently. Before we go any further, if you find this content helpful or informative, feel free to like, subscribe, and turn on those bell notifications so that you'll never miss another upload by me ever again. Without further ado, let's get into the video. As you guys know, and as many of you know, last week there was a major hotfix for the vehicles, that there were a lot of nerfs, including stuff like the machine gun turrets and the grenade launcher turrets have increased bloom or like pretty much less accurate. For solos, all the vehicles have less HP, which is I'm totally fine with. Another thing was that the boss cars no longer regenerate health when out of combat, which is a massive change to the boss vehicles. Another thing is the also unvaulted boogie bombs temporarily, which I'll cover what those do, and eventually they're gonna have EMP grenades into the game, unvault EMP grenades eventually. Also, the crossbow now has deals more damage to enemy vehicles. So that is like pretty much all the major changes they did, which pretty much like nerfed cars to the ground, making them like nowhere near as viable as they once were. But that does not mean the cars are completely useless. They still are very strong when it comes to the weapon systems, as well as the damage that they can deal, as well as the massive reworks they had at the beginning of the season with the increased fuel and HP and other stuff like that. But let's cover the boogie bombs. They are by far the best possible counter you can have to these cars. What you do is the boogie bomb, you could throw it near the car, everyone's like forced out of the car, they start dancing, and for like 5 seconds there's really nothing they can do unless they take a certain amount of damage, then they can actually fight back. But during those 5 seconds, they're vulnerable to any and all attacks. So basically, once you get out of the car, you start shooting them. They're pretty much screwed. There's really nothing you can really do about it. And you can hold up to 10 boogie bombs too, which is absolutely ridiculous. So boogie bombs completely broke the meta. Well, the cars broke the meta, and the boogie bombs just said, "Hold my beer," or "Hold my like chug jug" or something, and broke the meta again. And they're absolutely the best possible counter you have against cars. Another good counter that got even stronger was the explosive crossbow. It now does way more damage to the cars than it used to. Like pre-hotfix, it still did a good amount of damage, like a couple hundred. Now it does like maybe like 300 now. So it's a lot of damage to the vehicles, and it's just you destroy them a lot faster using these explosive crossbows. Another nerf I talked about was how the weapons, like the machine gun and the grenade launcher, are far less accurate. I feel like that's a good change they did, and that's really needed because they were way too accurate and they were like really good. Like, this does not mean those weapons, like the vehicle, like grenade launchers and machine guns, are bad. It's just they're still good, but like just not as broken as they once were. Also, in solos, I think the car health for all vehicles decreased by 17%, which is something I'm totally on board with too. And solos are not as viable due to this health thing, but they are still really strong nonetheless because they still have a lot more HP than they used to have compared to the other seasons. So it's still worth using in those situations. But also, another major change is for the boss vehicles. They don't regenerate health. I remember like the first week of this season, I was playing with like some of my friends. We used to always go for the boss vehicles every time. It was like a tilted drop every time for those damn boss vehicles. And like once you get them, you can pretty much like guarantee you make endgame, and could be very aggressive too. Because like what you could do is like leave, like if you take a lot of damage with the boss vehicle, you can like leave the scene, right? And then you could just regenerate over time and then just come back into the fight. And yeah, you're like restored to full health. So like it was really overpowered, but it's gone now. So it changes the game completely when it comes to people like me who love using the cars. But I'm gonna give my overall thoughts on this. Is that the cars are still viable. They're still very good to use. They're not as broken as they were, yeah. It's just, like, I feel like at the beginning of the season, you can run a very, very reckless playstyle and get away with it almost every single time. It's just with this massive, like, hotfix and nerfs, is that you gotta be a lot more careful when using the vehicles and when using the vehicles for combat, as they can be destroyed a lot easier. They have boogie bombs right now, but we'll have EMPs later on. So they're still good. Don't get me wrong, they're still good. It's just that you need to be more careful when using a vehicle in combat. But that's my opinion, is they're still good. Just gotta be more careful. And that's it. Well, that's pretty much all I gotta cover for you guys today. I really do appreciate y'all watching. I'm sorry this is a shorter video than what I usually do. It was just covering the hotfix and just going over my overall thoughts and opinion on whether the cars are worth using still. And they still are, in my opinion. But, you know, some may agree, others may disagree. It's up to you. But I'm glad y'all, if you watched the end, you guys are awesome. And please subscribe and like if you enjoy content like this. And I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.